Welcome in the mind. I just came up with this name on my way up here because I had to be able to find something to talk about or be able to fit this wonderful segment that we're going to be involved in with my man OG Nuke, Brooklyn. How you doing?
I'm all right, Flip. And yourself?
I'm okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Don't get too comfortable with me because I want to make you a little nervous. Last time we did an interrogation room, we did good numbers. But I want to get into the mind of people such as yourself and even myself. I want to be able to understand your thinking process to certain things. And I spoke to you off camera. Shout out to TA. You got a man named TA here. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Are you laughing? Am I supposed to be nervous?
No,
Were you threatening me earlier?
we don't threaten people.
What do you do? I'm sorry.
Y'all here to help.
Help the youth.
That's it.
You're doing a
it's
great
not just the youth with TA. TA helps people with their cases. I called him today with a situation, and he's looking into that for someone's family. But he's a well-rounded guy, and talking to him elevates me in a lot of ways.
How did you meet TA?
At Life Camp. But I knew TA, I knew of him before. Me and his brothers tight. Me and one of his crimies was tight. They raised me in the penitentiary. And then, you hear stories about TA. Then when I met him, it was like we filling each other out. Two alpha males filling each other out. And then one day we just started talking. Come to find out he don't like dudes from Brooklyn. But, that's a known fact already. But, every day he threatened to slap the shit out of me.
I don't like that.
So,
I have an issue with
for
that.
trying to slap the shit out of me, I guess he got some heart. So I took a liking to him. Now I'm known in Queens as Little TA.
Oh, and you're fine with that, yes?
No, I'm not fine with that because he's Little Nuke.
Got it.
Right?
Got
but,
it.
But that's what it is.
Let's I'm gonna take my time here on tell me what it takes to be a criminal. The word criminal, I don't know the definition of it, the Webster Dictionary. I mean, you trying to freestyle. Don't think too hard.
I ain't gonna freestyle.
Okay.
That's what we got my man for.
No. Because if he gets involved, I'm going to ask harder questions. So let's keep it easy.
I always keep a lawyer with me. Always keep a lawyer.
Tell me what it takes. Tell me what's in the mind of a criminal. What makes a person go to that deep end of becoming a criminal?
To be honest with you, I never considered myself a criminal. I was dealing with something that grief, I told you a while back. And because I didn't understand it, the anger took over. And I made poor decisions that became in that criminal lifestyle. I didn't think about most of the shit I did. I just did it. So to say that I thought about it, no. I just did it. It felt right at the time. And that's what I did.
But when you say you just did it, Nuke, why would it come to your mind? Was it or are you a product of your environment? Was in your environment, were you looking up to people that were in it? What makes you so if a kid goes to school and goes to college, what makes him pass and wants to be a grade A? If a man chooses the streets, what makes him wants to be in the street? What makes you go down that line of becoming a criminal, Nuke? I have to be honest.
Well, again, I adapted the lifestyle because it gave me what I was looking for at the time, right? What I wasn't getting from my family. And it's crazy because the streets hugged me, what I needed. So the wilder I got, the more fans or people that came around me to be a part of that. And me not understanding that they was around me just to use me because I was a kid at the time. And then when I started wising up, I realized that why come to me if they can do it? They can't do something. So, I just went the extra mile at whatever I did. So the same energy of getting straight A's, you got to study. So when I picked up the lifestyle of a criminal, I studied those that came before me and figured out this is what I do and base my life on becoming better than them. And because I was so young, I put it in my mind I had to be more diabolical than them because I wanted to send a message that if you dare come at me and you miss, this is what's going to happen to you. So I went to extreme. So like I said, it didn't take thinking. It was a lot of ignorance involved with what I did. So I guess to become a criminal mastermind is going to be a lot of ignorance, and you justify it. You justify that stinking thinking. You know, they was going to do it to you first. You know, it was me or them.
So you're saying that basically what led you to that lifestyle was the fame from the streets.
No, that's what kept me there.
Kept you there.
Yes.
That
What
led
me
you
there was the grief and
the grief in the community.
Pain.
And
the pain for my grandmother's death. And not seeing that my family, they lost their mother. My aunts and uncles lost their mother. And they was dealing with their own thing. But if you don't know what you're dealing with, you become confused. So the first person that told me what I wanted to hear, I was misguided and led to like, this is it. So once that I got that taste of violence, it was like, this is what I was born to do.
Is it better, and I'm going to get to that first time a taste of violence without getting too much detail. Is it better to be feared than loved?
I think it's better to be respected.
But does respect come with fear pertaining to the streets?
I mean, yes. I mean, it comes with that, but you got a lot of well-respected gentlemen that's in the game that ain't on the violence shit. They're about $1. You know, but in the 80s, it was more to be fed in the streets. And you want the people around you to love you, so you treat them fair. But you can't buy love. It have to come natural. You know? Because what happens when you down? When I did my time, I only had 2 of my comrades did the whole bid with me. And then there was another brother I met in prison that did the bid with me. When he went home, my man Jason, you know, we had our little misunderstandings later on, but he's still my brother at the end of the day. And, you know, the 2 people that was from my past that stayed in my life, that was love. And it wasn't what I can give them and what they can give me. We genuinely loved one another.
How can a man who, because this is what we learn, right? We watch the stories of criminals, Italian mobsters, because we really don't know about our people that much. Our people are depicted on the TV screen as monsters. But, you know, the Italians seemed to be more organized, right? And what we noticed about them at the time, even the Jamaicans, you know, shout out to them, they were ruthless at the time. But what we noticed about the Italians was a lot of things were organized and the people were close to them with love, but a lot of them were feared. But in our community, even though a lot of people are depicted as monsters, like the bottom of the barrel type thing, I don't like the way we're depicted on television at the time. Like now it has eased up at the time. There was also some sense of code of conduct pertaining to this lifestyle, right? Would you put yourself in the category as, you know, you had a sort of code of conduct? Because you started, what, 18, 19, 17? Did
younger, but I
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, oh, you were younger. Oh, here you go.
Excuse me.
So did you follow a code of conduct, or were you manipulated? This is an important question because, you know, I know a lot of people watch you. Were you manipulated by the ones above you in the streets to carry out treacherous acts?
I was never manipulated. Right? I know I'm going to say this, right? It was seeds planted, right? And they let it grow. They let it grow. They never like continue to water it because sooner or later I'm going to pick up. But they put this seed there. And then because my ego and my anger, they knew what buttons to. So to say that it was, you know, to manipulate someone, you keep going. The seed was there. Yes, I was manipulated at some point in my life. But then it came a time where I made the choices on my own. I didn't need them to tell me that. It was already there. I was already programmed, or as they say, on go time. right? But the thing is this, when you go back to the Italians, right? You go back to the Jamaicans, all the ones that they make, what they have that we don't have is their culture, right? Jamaicans, they family orientated no matter how treacherous they are, right? They have that tongue. They come from whatever part of Jamaica. They know somebody, right? They're Italian. They could tell you all the way they lineage to where they come from in Sicily and over in Italy, right? They could tell you. Us, we can't tell you. We tell you I'm from Brooklyn, but that's all the far I can go. I might can go down south where my people come from, but I couldn't tell you where my great-grandmother, her grandmother, her mother, so forth come. If I could trace my lineage back to where we came from, if all of us, then we have that sense. We don't live in a community anymore. We live in the hood. Community is when people have, they all on one page, that sense of togetherness, right? A common goal, a common cause. We don't have that no more. We tear each other apart to get over each other. And this is what the game was in the streets. So the code of conduct, as the years went by, the rules left. If you see in King of Harlem, they show that the black man wasn't ran off by the mob. Mm-hmm. They brought a sense of fairness to the game in that community. But it's always division. Why? Because that culture is gone. But the Italians have it too. But you know what? They stayed to that code. No women and children. You know, I got a beef with you. That's where it stay. If your brother's in the game, he can get it. Now, when we come to today, that's what's missing. There's no rules no more. There's no code of conduct. There's no passes no more. In my time, it was passes. I'm quite sure people gave me passes. The older dudes gave me passes. I gave out a lot of passes. I know people, you do that.
Isn't it dangerous to give some people passes?
No, it's not dangerous because then respect is built. Because I respect you enough when you was with your family or you coming from church, you walking your child at school. I respect you enough not to do nothing. And I believe that if the integrity is in you, you would give me the same pass.
So the people who cross those lines of violating, what category do we put them in? Now, I know we don't like to tear down our brothers, especially you, Tia. You know, you guys stand for something as far as the community, but I need you to shed your community skin today, my brother. What do you call those guys that don't give the passes, that don't let somebody walk with their daughter or mom, that will go across the line? What category do you put them in?
Well, first, you got, a lot of them wasn't taught. So why would you put them in a category? Until we can educate them and tell them, if it's about money, get money. Not that we condone none of this. But my point is this, right? When you know, you do better. A lot of these young men haven't been taught what the rules of the streets are. They come in 10, 11 in the streets, and they big homie is 16 to 21. When you look at all these sweeps, the average age is 14 to 21. They taking our youth off the street and they putting them in a federal penitentiary. So why would I put them in a category when society put them in a category? What I want to do is educate them, not on the game, but they there. Let's educate them. And you'll find out most of them want to be rappers. Most of them want to be clothes designers. And we teach them and we give them that, the resources to do that and get them off. So I wouldn't put them other than say they misled. They're undereducated.
Youth raising youth. So you don't put them in a category. Do you feel like you're pacifying them by not, so we don't want to label them. We don't want to disrespect our own. But do you feel like you're pacifying them by coming up with an excuse? Because it takes a special kind of behavior, my opinion, to pick up a gun and retaliate against someone while they're with their grandmother, while they're with their child, while they're at a drive-through at McDonald's. While it takes a special type of mentality. And I know you want to, and I respect that. I feel the same way.
Let's just use this. The young lady that got killed in Burger King.
In Burger King, yes.
It was a time in our community where the police wouldn't have had to deal with him.
Wow.
When they got him, he'd already been wrapped up. They'd have been planning on sending him Potter Phil or whatever. That's what got away. I'm not pacifying anyone. But we have to understand, these young men of today, they didn't have the education. So why would I call them an animal?
Got it.
They get that called it enough. That's why they on demon time. So no, I'm not pacifying. What I want to do is give them someone they could talk to and be 100 with or keep it a buck. And we could talk about anything because I done everything. You know, and they see like this generation today, they are more intelligent because of technology. So look at, I mean, to run this something like this, what you in, right? You a young man. This anybody could do it, right? They say, right? But they can't do it the way you do it. And a lot of them sit here and watch you, right? They laugh at your skits. They get informative information from the interviews you do. But the thing is, bro, they get beat down enough. That's why they feel a gun makes them a man. So they are misguided. So I would never put them and say, the dude that killed that 19-year-old, yes, he was an animal. Because you don't do shit to citizens. Not a street dude don't do shit to citizens that work. Never did nothing to a working person in my life. And I know many dudes that never did. They didn't do that. You know, that was left for people that got high. They robbed somebody come home from work. It was easy to rob a civilian for them. But dudes in the street don't do that. And too many innocent people getting caught up in the crossfire. If they knew better, I want to believe in my heart that they wouldn't shoot when they see the senior citizens in front of a school. They wouldn't do that. And then when you look at them shooting, they running down a block, shooting over their shoulder. So to me, they really don't want to shoot.
I feel like the youth don't listen to the OGs today because a lot of the OGs, some of them haven't lived the life or were not able to relate. Some of them talk down and are demanding to the younger ones, and they just, it's not a respect thing. I mean, you know, you're one of the guys that get a lot of respect that I've witnessed myself, and I think that you're able to relate and talk to them. Do you feel like, who do you feel like, and shout out to TA, Miss Dixon, and everybody out there, my mom that's doing the work, but I even told my mom this. And, you know, you had your hand, you know, dealing with me and watching me and then, you know, my cousins and stuff, but, you know, I told her this, like, you really didn't experience or been around that type of stuff. You kind of avoided it. And she has a response. She sees things different, and I learned to respect that. But I was not trying to play my mom. I was explaining to her from the perspective of a younger man or a kid that's about that life, why they are not able to relate or see eye to eye with people who are doing the work, as they call it out here, not the survivors, but the work of the activists out here. A lot of them look like, not my mom, you know what I mean? Shout out to my mom. My mom is out here doing the thing, and she has me, she has you.
Credible messengers?
Yeah, credible.
CMS.
But there's a lot of people that's not credible messengers. A lot of people out here, respectfully, are doing it to get a check. How do you feel about that?
Let me say this, right? I speak about that a lot. If in this work, you have to have a passion for it. If it's just a paycheck, it's going to show. It's going to show. If it's just about the money for you. You know, but someone once told me, right, the lights got to stay on, right? You do this. The lights got to stay on in your studio. So you have to do it for the money, right? You do it to get paid, to keep the lights on, to inform the people. People have to pay bills. But when you get in it, some people start for the money. But if you really get into this work, it's not about the money no more.
Really? What is it about?
It's about saving a life, especially coming from where I came from. Like, TA used to have a thing, he used to call us the A-team, right? Me and him, Sparkles. And it was like we would separate ourselves from the rest of the team. But that was TA doing. But what I did learn in that is that we moved around the whole Queens. And the reception from the young brothers that's in the streets, that they are saying doing all this mischievous stuff, gave us an audience. Look forward to us coming through. And I seen that it works when you move around. I seen how we stop them from going to do something that day because our mere presence of kicking it with them and following up. So my salary didn't matter no more. I get a good salary for doing what I do. But it doesn't negate the fact that I work damn near 24 hours. When my phone ring about work, I jump out my bed. I lost a relationship because of this work. So it's not about the money.
You were hurt behind losing a relationship. Do you remember?
Of course I was hurt.
Called me upset too.
Yeah, but again,
it's no buts.
It is, because let me tell you something, right? When you really look at this, my work is making my community better. So you got to sacrifice if you want to change. So if I'm willing to sacrifice people and things I love, then these guys can willingly sacrifice these streets to hear me out, to want to make a difference, because a lot of these brothers, man, when you sit there, that's all they know. Literally all they know. They're being raised by young parents that don't really know. So to go back to what you said about they don't listen to the OGs. They listen to the OGs. They don't listen to them old fools that thinking they manipulating them to get them to do the dumb shit they doing. You understand? And I do have a problem with that. I have a problem with the older brothers that created this and they not out here denouncing it. They sitting on the sidelines. They're not being vocal. They're not being out here on the front line. I talk to them all the time about that. It's going to take a collective effort from the older dudes in these sets to come out and speak about this, man. Our children, our elderly are not safe going to they don't want to come out. This is why DoorDash, what's that shopping cart where you just order your food, they'd rather do that and pay more for their groceries to get their food, man. Come on. Is that fair to them?
No.
So why are we just putting no blame on just the young men? Let's put the blame on where it started. Flip, you are fortunate to have the mother you have. You know, I don't have my mother right now. You know, and she was getting high. My mom's got high. And I had to fend, when my grandmother died, I fend basically for myself, right? And the things that I picked up was from people in the street that I admired. And they thought they was doing the right thing, giving me the jewels they was giving me. And when I got into it, they're like, if he gonna do it, let's give him the jewels. I was around good dudes. You know, they wanted more for me. They wanted me to go to school. They wanted me to be the football star. But again, they wanted me to be the football star for them. But I chose my life. And I think that we give these young men a choice of a matter and say, you want to be a rapper? We're going to put you in a room. We're going to help you put 16 bars together. study the dictionary. You want to act, we get them in those things. We cultivate them, man. And then they can't say they didn't have nobody. They can't. Right now, nobody care. All they want to do is beat up on them. They beat up on themselves enough. That's why they on demon time. Let's get them off of demon time. You know, let's put the ownership on those people, right? To work just with the kids is one thing. We got to work with the parents. We got to work with the schools. The schools is failing them. It's so much we have to do. So why put them in that box? Let's put society in that box because we all play a part. We let that generation go.
Let's talk about something real quick. You said something earlier. I wanted to go back to it. You said back in your days that the man that just killed the 19-year-old, guys would have handled it. Yeah. So you trying to say that back then, because it's a little bit now, it becomes a little foggy to me because you're saying that back then it was more community structured?
No, I'm saying this, right? That block is a strip, right? People hustle on that block, right?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't bring heat to the block. And that was senseless heat. You killed a young woman that was working. Right? That was working to buy whatever she wanted to buy. Didn't have to lay on her back to get a bag or something.
Rest in peace to her.
Right?
Yeah.
So, for what? Right? So, it was certain things you didn't do. It was consequences to be paid. And that's the thing. There's no more consequences for nothing. The justice system is failing these kids. Right? Ain't nobody, let's talk about it. Now you go to Racket Salad, you got PlayStation. They don't even want them in the law library. They don't want them to learn about their case.
True.
Right? You go upstate, you don't go to the box no more. You get 30 days, you come back out, and readjustment. You play mental illness. Everybody, when I was in prison, man, towards the end, they call medication, might take 2 hours to finish the medication run. Because everybody's acting like they crazy. And this is the thing. So you want to talk about a pacifier? The city put a pacifier in their mouth. You know, I mean, again, bro, I paid for what I did. It's a consequence to every action. And you should be ready for it.
Let me ask you a question. 2 questions. That was the first one. Second question is...
Excuse me.
Take your time. You know, the questions are kind of... TA, you all right over there?
I'm good.
You a little nervous?
Not at all.
Okay, just make sure you're I don't want to make you nervous, TA. TA, please, slow down with the gangster talk, brother.
No, it's real talk.
Oh, all right, TA. Okay, brother, bless you. Bless. No beef. Bring us in your mind when you first did your violent crime, whether it's punch somebody in the head, whether it's break a bone. I want to know the thoughts. Were you nervous? You know, some people, before they do something, they have to use the bathroom frequently. Some people sweat profusely. Some people cry. Some people do a lot of different things. Or was your heart that cold due to the fact of what you were going through that you didn't even think the steps through? You just did it. Did you think at all?
I thought about how to get away. I mean, the action, I already knew I was going to do the action. I laughed most of the time. Anyway, I was getting ready to go on a mission, I laughed. I guess that was getting the nervousness out. But once I put it in my mind, it got to get done, I didn't think about it no more. I didn't think about the casualties. I didn't think about anything. I just did it. But I was focused on my target, on the message I wanted to send. So if it was a building, I knew that's what I wanted to do. If it was a person, I knew that's what I wanted to do. If it was just to injure them, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And it might sound real calculated, but this is the lifestyle that I lived at that time. But when years later, umpteen years later, when I was sitting in the box, I realized that it was something dead inside me. And all I needed to do was sit on somebody's couch and talk about what I was feeling. But when you suppress all that shit, the anger, that fire that made me so good at football, made me so good at what I did in the streets.
So a lot of your actions were premeditated. It wasn't off the whim. Like it just didn't, it's just.
I mean, no, it wasn't off the whim, because if it was off the whim, it was then and there. But when you had time to sit down before you go do something, you think about it. You run the plays through your head. Right? I knew the play was called. I played it. If this hole is closed, I'm gonna run through this hole. So it was like it just go through my mind what I'm gonna do.
So it played in your mind.
Yeah. So that's what I did. I said, okay, this is what I want to do. If this happens, this was gonna happen. If this happened, this was gonna happen. So I won't want to say it was premeditated, but it was well thought out. If that makes sense. There you go, right? Yeah. Yeah, there you
Critical and consequential thinking.
Yes.
What does that mean, TA, since you want to speak?
Critical is thinking every step of the way.
Right.
Consequential is knowing if something go wrong, you know what you're facing. Right? And that's something that the youth don't have today.
Got it.
They just want go.
See, and the thing with me is that
Critical
with
and
that,
consequential.
I knew it was either prison or the cemetery. I was gonna get rich. Those are three things that I thought. That's what motivated me. Not prison, because I didn't think I ever was gonna go to prison. I was like, at 25, I'm gonna be out the game. I'm gonna be sitting on top of the world. But at 25, I was sitting in somebody's prison